How we spend our days is how we spend our lives. Thank you for taking some time out of your day to join us for another edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Coming up in today's show, we'll show you how Jamaica is shaping up to become a major player in the medical tourism industry. And we take a look at how climate change is affecting how we live and what we can do about it. Plus, we look at a group of students who performed well in the GSET exams. All that and more right after this message.
Prevent overfishing. Give our marine resources room to replenish. Protect valuable marine species from extinction. Fish sanctuaries have been created to do just that. These designated protected areas for fish and other marine life help to breed, grow, and maintain a healthy population. No one is allowed in a fish sanctuary. It is illegal. Offenders will be arrested and their fishing equipment and catch confiscated. Allowing our marine and seafood population to grow means more catch later and food security for all.
Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, July 27. The Andrew Holness-led administration is moving to make the right to secondary education explicit in law. In a statement to Parliament yesterday, the Prime Minister announced that the Education Minister would be reviewing existing legislation to make it illegal for any child to be denied a right to secondary education.
This government believes that education must be compulsory between the ages of your 3rd and 18th birthday.
Schools will meanwhile be subject to increased monitoring and surveillance by the Education Ministry as they are held accountable for the provision of core services. And all schools that receive public funds will be subject to audit by the Auditor General.
The Auditor General can't audit all the schools, but the Auditor General, I've given the directive through the Minister of Education, should now start to look directly at taking sample audits of schools to ensure that when we are increasing public resources into the education system, that the public can be guaranteed value for money.
For its part, Mr. Holness says government will keep its commitment to the removal of auxiliary fees and increased funding to high schools. In the 2016-2017 academic year, schools will get $5.3 billion to fund their services, up from $2.6 billion. It includes an increase from $11,500 to $19,000 provided for each child in high school. The Prime Minister says guidelines have been implemented for non-mandatory contributions by parents, which should only apply to co-curricular, sports, and special school development initiatives.
Whether the school, Mr. Speaker, is a traditional school or a non-traditional school, contributions are optional. And no student can be denied access to attend schools.
Approximately 251,800 Jamaicans benefited from the first phase of government's income tax relief policy, which took effect this month. Finance Minister Audley Shaw made a report on the implementation of the tax plan in a statement to Parliament yesterday.
This shift towards indirect taxes away from direct taxes, such as personal income tax, is consistent with global trends and enhances economic growth.
Effective this month, the personal income tax threshold increased from $592,800 to $1,272,000. It will further move to $1.5 million on April 1, 2017. Minister Shaw urged workers to spend the extra money responsibly and ramp up production.
This phase of tax reform is a signal to the Jamaican people that this government wants to put back more into their pockets. And in putting back more into their pockets, Mr. Speaker, we are expecting in return higher levels of personal productivity at the workplace.
The capacity of the ear, nose and throat ENT department at the Mandeville Regional Hospital has been boosted. The non-profit organization Manchester Wellness Foundation recently donated clinical equipment to enable emergency and surgical intervention for adults. Among other things, it means persons needing surgeries to remove foreign objects from the esophagus no longer need to be transferred to hospitals in Kingston.
We have there 5 bits of equipment, 3 suction aspirators and 2 biopsy forceps, which will be used during the process of what we call rigid esophagoscopy. And I will tell you with no exaggeration that these 5 bits of equipment are going to save countless lives.
The donations are part of Phase 1 of the support from the Manchester Wellness Foundation. In the second phase, equipment will be provided to address the needs of pediatric patients. Government will be relaunching its program to recognize tourism workers who have given excellent service. The National Tourism Service Excellence Program, TSEP, was disbanded in 2008. But Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says former Director General Carol Guntley has been assigned to revive the program and make it an annual event,
so that we can show off the best of the workers in the tourist industry and reward you for the good job that you have been doing.
Minister Bartlett was speaking recently at a staff awards function at the Bahia Principe Hotel. He said TSEP would be relaunched this November. And finally, the Ranny Williams Entertainment Center in St. Andrew will be transformed into an independence village from August 1 to 6 with a variety of options for family entertainment. Executive Director of the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission, Dr. Delroy Gordon, is encouraging parents and guardians to bring their children to the village for the 54th Independence celebrations.
We have a kiddies village. We have what we call Picnipendence, and Picnipendence is really a concept that in a way in which children can understand and appreciate the meaning and the significance of independence.
Dr. Gordon was speaking at a JI's think tank last Friday. He said a number of private sector entities, ministries and agencies of government would be offering services. Other activities at the Independence Village will include the Auntie Rochi Literary Festival, Mellow Around, World Reggae Dance Championship and the Reggae to Rio concert, which will feature some of Jamaica's reggae icons, while allowing patrons to watch the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games in Rio, Brazil. And that's it for JI's News Today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thanks for watching.
Finger-licking jerk chicken, Helcher fish and bami, will run down yam and banana, roast breadfruit, sweet potato pudding. Jamaica food sweet. So let's make a pledge to use more local produce and less foreign goods. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow.
Every year, thousands of tourists come to our beautiful island for sun, sea and sand. Now the government is putting in the necessary framework to make medical treatment another reason persons visit the island. Take a look.
What we are looking at is a framework that will establish Jamaica as a medical tourism destination, including how do we work with a JTB to ensure that Jamaica starts being marketed as a medical tourism destination.
The opportunity we see is in a range of different treatments: surgical treatment, medical diagnostics, dentistry. That is actually already happening. I'm sure the dentists among you will already be seeing patients from the diaspora who come down here, and while they're visiting friends and family, decide to have dental treatment. And that is certainly one of the low-hanging fruit.
Big abroad in sports, music, food. And the newest kid on the block that has the world looking to jam down is medical tourism.
Essentially moving people, and typically it's from more developed countries, to less developed countries to access healthcare at an affordable cost, but still high in quality.
Which is really about people actively traveling to another country to seek medical help or medical treatments. Now, it's not so much about people coming here and while they're here having a treatment. It's really about the whole structure of a travel industry that is set up to promote people traveling overseas. So if you want to have a hip replacement, you actually go to a travel agent in the US usually, or in the UK or Canada, wherever, and you say, where can I have my hip replacement done? And they'll give you a list of 5 or 6 countries and say, okay, this is what it costs in these countries. So there's a whole superstructure that's set up to promote this.
The government has implemented a number of policies to spur growth in this sector. The National Steering Committee on Health and Wellness Tourism, with its secretariat based at JAMPRO, looks at accreditation, regulation, and a marketing framework for the sector. The National Standard for Spas was developed in conjunction with the Bureau of Standards Jamaica. There is a national quality infrastructure, and the Fiscal Incentives Act, a new fiscal framework introduced in 2014, provides for reduced customs and stamp duties and corporate income tax rates, as well as a list of items that can be brought into the island duty-free. These incentives are available to both recovery hotels and medical and wellness facilities. Global investors have seen the potential for medical tourism in Jamaica. International brand Hospitan built a $2.3 billion state-of-the-art facility in Montego Bay, St. James. Additionally, it's quite the norm to hear of medical missions happening in different parts of the island. The country has been ranked second on the list of most attractive countries for medical tourism based on a 2014 index.
So why Jamaica? We already have an international global presence as a tourism destination. We do have a skilled workforce, excellent doctors, excellent dentists, excellent nurses. Our labor costs here are lower, significantly lower. The proximity to the United States cannot be ignored, and that's a given. Of course, we have our natural resources. So when we talk about wellness tourism, our beaches, our spas that can be developed, advantages, of course, for a place like Jamaica to get engaged in health tourism, definitely good for the workforce, and of course, the foreign exchange.
The government will continue to promote and facilitate investment in the very lucrative medical tourism sector. Therefore, health professionals and tourism stakeholders form coalitions to help develop Jamaica as a medical tourism destination. For more on Jamaica's growing medical tourism industry, contact JAMPRO. They're based on Trafalgar Road in New Kingston. Call them at 978-7755 or 978-3337.
Life is all about making decisions, choosing from a number of options to do a particular thing, which may result in a specific outcome.
It can be difficult, but there are 4 things you can do to help make that decision.
Stop. Check out what's happening and remind yourself to think before acting.
Think. Make sure you're aware of the choices, all the advantages and disadvantages. Then think about the consequences.
Act. Choose the best option and do something about it.
Review.
Finally, review what you have done and determine if it was good or bad. That way, you'll be in a better position to make the next decision, whether big or simple.
Former American Secretary of State Colin Powell once said, "A dream doesn't become reality through magic. It takes sweat, determination, and hard work." For a group of students at the Mannings Hill Primary School, their hard work has paid off in successful GCSET results. Take a look.
I'm Anisha Marshall. I am Tariq Taylor. Hi, I'm Zayla.
And that's Amari Crary. They are just some of this year's top GSET students at the Mannings Hill Primary School. Nestled in the hills of West Rural St. Andrew, the school has a small population of just 590 students, but as we Jamaicans love to say, them likobo talawa. For the 2016 sitting of the Grade 6 Achievement Test, 103 candidates were sent up and 70 of them were placed in a school of their choice. So, what's their secret?
First of all, we have a culture of excellence. We have instilled in the children, the attitudes of excellence in terms of, performing at their utmost every time on every single test. We have a very good cadre of teachers who are selfless. They go above and beyond the call of duty to ensure that the children continuously do well year after year.
This we found to be true when we stopped by the institution.
In terms of motivation, some of the actual activities that we did, you had the rewards program where students who achieved 90% and over, they would get to go on the principal's honor roll. Also, those who did very, very well in certain subject areas, they were actually announced at devotion and they were badged, things like those.
They really came through. You just have to encourage them. You do your study sheets. You encourage them to study. You ask the parents to sit up with them and study. So once they realize that you're putting out 100, mommy or daddy is putting out 100, I have to do the same. So that will enable them to pull through, basically. And then the constant studying, you're here every day. So they just develop the attitude of excellence.
An attitude of excellence for sure, with many students averaging 90% and over. Let's meet our four in the spotlight.
It was very hard, and my teacher, Miss Sadler, she encouraged us to work hard. I am very excited about it because I work very hard and I would like to go on the track team because I want to run and get my goals and run for Jamaica also.
My teacher, she told me that whenever you're studying, you recite the sentences over like 3 times, and then when you're finished with like 3 of them, you say them out of your head. You close the book and say them out of your head. Mr. Sinclair, Miss Martin Campbell, my parents, my family members, they all believed in me and they always told me to study hard, and if I study hard, I would reach my goals. But they said don't study too hard because all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. I feel excited.
Why?
Because it was my first choice and I got my first choice and everyone believed in me.
In the case of the top boy and top girl, their overall average was almost 100%. Wow. The smiles on his brother and sister's faces speak loudly about Omari's family's pride in his performance. That's the case as well for Mannings Hill top girl, Zaelia Taylor.
Well, actually, to me, I don't that much study because I love to read. I like just read books. Unlike when I'm at school in my class, I like do.
Really?
And sometimes my teacher have to call to me and tell me to put away the reading books.
Are you a genius? So, varying study techniques, but all achieved their end goal of getting into a school of their choice. A feeling of pride has engulfed Mannings Hill, which is now rated as one of the top primary schools in the corporate area. In fact, in 2015, the institution was ranked number 2, just behind Jesseripol Primary. Mannings Hill Primary, a GSAT success story. A final word of advice from the top girl?
Parents, push your children hard because they can do it.
Guys, I'm not ready.
Ready a long time. Let's go.
Ready, Mona?
Yeah. Oh, Shelly, I have a file for you for tomorrow, okay?
All right.
I'm gonna leave it on your desk.
Sure, go right ahead.
But Shelly, you don't shut down the computer.
But it not gonna do nothing.
But of course, when you leave it on, it burns excess energy.
I say go?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you know that the country foots the bill to import the fuel that produces electricity? Let's all play our part to conserve on energy by ironing once per week, unplugging all appliances when not in use, and avoid keeping the refrigerator open for a long period of time when removing food. Get smart. Don't get left in the dark.
The atmospheric condition of our world is changing, and we have played some role in it. But there are things that we can do to limit that change.
Warning, warning, warning! The world over is changing, and a number of the changes are as a result of the way you and I have chosen to live. From driving a car to garbage disposal, using electricity to light and cool your homes. All these activities contribute to the evolving problem known as climate change.
Climate change is happening now.
For some strange reason, Jamaica doesn't have any rainfall at all.
What I know right now is that it's a very hot summer.
The drought is killing us. From the farmer to the housewife, climate change has no boundaries. It does not discriminate.
If I was to define climate change, I would say something like it's the long-term changes in measures of climate happening over very, very long periods of time, and specifically due to human activities. So the first is, of course, things that we burn for electricity, so gas and coal and oil. And when we burn those fossil fuels, we put certain gases in the atmosphere which are known as greenhouse gases. And those greenhouse gases cause the eventual warming of the earth. And then the other one would be land use change. So, for example, when we cut down the trees and replace the trees by concrete, you know, trees are what we call a natural sink. They take carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere.
At the onset, the situation might seem dismal, but if we act now, we can begin adapting to the impacts of climate change.
The school of thought is that there are really three key actions. The first is what they call mitigation. And by mitigation in the climate change context is, well, maybe we need to not put out as much greenhouse gases, which are causing the problem in the first place. The second key action then is figuring out how to adapt. And adapting means learning to live within the new context that we are creating for ourselves, the new climate context. The third critical plank is always education. You know, we have to begin to educate people about climate change.
The country has been implementing a number of climate change resilient programs since 1995, when it became party to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC, the main international treaty on climate change. The adaptation, mitigation, and education strategies have been reflected in the development of the Vision 2030 National Development Plan through Goal 4 under Outcome 14, Hazard Risk Reduction and Adaptation to Climate Change. The Climate Change Division has a leading role in coordinating these initiatives.
The Climate Change Division is set up to accomplish a number of objectives, and that includes improving the general awareness of the public as to what climate change is and what as a country we can all do in order to make ourselves better prepared for the likely and significant impacts.
The division has been making strides in creating awareness about climate change and each individual's role in protecting the environment.
As a country, we need to think, how can we reduce our greenhouse gas output? One obvious way is, for example, renewable energy. So to pursue renewable energy as a viable energy option.
Our main activity is to ensure that we keep whatever forest we have in Jamaica intact. And in areas that we have lost the forest is to replace it.
We have seen where our shoreline is changing. We've been doing a lot of work with replanting of mangroves, and we encourage replanting of seagrass. We have done work with establishment of corn nurseries, artificial reefs.
We have experienced firsthand and will continue to see the changes that result from climate change. It is real, and all hands have to be on board to ensure success in our mitigation, adaptation, and education strategies. With climate change, we must change.
Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it.
No dash no paper, no dash no plastic. Dispose your garbage responsibly. No know how to recycle, learn it quick. And if you drop it, better pick up every piece of it. Plastics last forever, don't forget the bits. Cause when them touch the street, them end up in the sea. Collect pan the reef where they fish them feed. And when you want seafood, I eat your
Keep
eat.
we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. No dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica.
It's important that you take care of your environment so your environment can take care of you. Keep your environment clean by properly disposing your garbage. Some things you don't have to throw away, they can be recycled or reused. How about that fruit peel you're about to put in the garbage? It can be used in a compost heap. Conserve water by fixing leaks and reusing the precious liquid. For example, the water used to rinse the dishes can be used for watering plants. Save energy by turning off appliances when they are not being used. Doing these simple things can limit the harmful effects on the environment. In doing this, you're playing your part in making Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business.
On our roads, remember, take time, be courteous, drive good, walk good. Part of keeping our roads safe is ensuring the vehicles we drive are mechanically safe, meeting all roadworthy requirements. And besides that, we must be good drivers and avoid risk-taking and sensation-seeking behaviors which are prone to causing road crashes.
That's it for this edition of Jamaica Magazine. We hope you found the show informative. Let us know what you thought about the show. Send us an email at jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm or follow us on Twitter at JIS News. Browse our website, jis.gov.jm. On behalf of the entire production crew here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.